You didn't call the prediction, the feeling of the palm of my hand unexpectedly changed, and that wasn't the only change. I approached to my field of vision to smell in the air, it all changed in a flash, like magic. Transfer, I instantly realized it. However, I couldn't understand the state of my body, so instantly, I gradually confirmed everything around me. First off, I was in a private room at Sphere. My body was in the bed, lying on its side in the fatal position. I'm looking towards the window. Through it, the blue sky outside was visible. And in one of my hands, I felt another's palm. In other words, I was laying in bed, holding my hands with someone. Suddenly, a faint but sweet scent tickled my nose. I knew that fragrance from somewhere. No way. I turned over mechanically like a clockwork doll, and my body hit something. There were a few centimeters from my nose to Satori's face. Whoa. Jumped back in surprise. The bed's smaller than I expected. Satori's arm fell to the bed with a thud. She's asleep. Just to be sure, I prodded her cheek. She scratched the place I'd poked with the tip of her finger. Letting out a faint grumble, she turned over in her sleep. Yeah. With her eyes still closed, she chuckled. Was she dreaming? At any rate, she didn't seem to be suffering. Maybe the last transfer, she was in quite a state. I don't know what happened after that, but perhaps she blacked out and was carried to her room. We were in Tori's room. Nothing strange about her being asleep in there. But me, why is my body in her room? Moreover, we were holding hands and lying in the bed together. Just what in the world was Cocoro doing right before I came here? Every single time I transfer, it's always the same question. I'm seriously fed up with it, and yet I can't help but think about it. Just to be on the safe side, I checked over her clothes. Nothing out of place. Fair enough. Cocoro's consciousness was female, so even if she entered a man's body, she surely wouldn't do such a thing. Wait, if Cocoro happened to have other tastes, then it'd be a totally different story. Anyway, I was relieved that nothing had happened. From the looks of her calm, sleeping face, it seemed I wouldn't have to worry about Tori. Cocoro was probably just there because of Tori's fit. She'd stayed by her side, and as a result, they ended up falling asleep together, but given that Cocoro was a woman, there's nothing strange about that. I somehow felt that I'd caught a glimpse of Cocoro's kindness. Well then, I'd love to gaze at Tori's sleeping face forever, but I didn't have time right now. Time after a transfer is always busy. Silently stepped towards the exit so as not to wake Tori. Returned to my room. Took the wristwatch out of my pocket and confirmed the time, 2:30. I've estimated that I stayed with Tori for 5 minutes and the transfer occurred at 2:25. Previous transfer was at 1:52. Therefore I was at Mount Sakura for 33 minutes. Transfer phenomenon has a pattern to it, although I still can't be sure. I'm not checking the time immediately after the transfer, so the numbers in and themselves aren't the trustworthy. Well, I'll think it over more carefully later. Next I checked to see if there were any messages. I picked up the notepad. No reply from Cocoro, which is to say, except for the time that she made the drawing, I'd never received a proper response from Cocoro. Does she not like writing? But she could just talk in the voice recorder at the shelter cabin instead, so it can't be for such a simple reason. Maybe too much things are happening and she doesn't have time to leave a message? I muttered, persuading myself. Wait, no, she drew and then she made another message. I muttered, persuading myself, the blank notepad in my hand. I stared at it until I felt dizzy, but no words materialized. I tossed it onto the desk and lay down in the bed. I thought about the uni on Mount Cocoro. In the end, I'd missed another chance to talk to him. Ask him. Precognition, huh? Could it be true? Even though the rational part of me wants to deny it to the better end. Another part of me wonders if it's really okay for me to dismiss it so easily. I don't believe him, but I also somehow feel as though I could. I'm at a stalemate. I cursed my own indecisiveness. In any case, I'll put the problem with uni on hold. The next time I transfer, I'll have to talk to him again. Leaving it for later, I put it on hold, delaying. I kind of feel like I'm procrastinating even an awful lot of things. I'm not making any progress, which is the equivalent of saying that I haven't obtained any new information. Ah! Wait, what? I screamed furiously, scratching my head. I jumped off the bed in rage. There are too many damn things to think about. Stupid. Stupid, stupid, stupid. I kicked the desk with all my might. My toes hurt like hell. In the end, night came without me making any new progress at all. No transfers had occurred since then either. The matters of uni and Tori were still running through my head. and after that I began to worry about Lin and Cocoro. Furthermore, the mysterious transference phenomenon that was tormenting both me and Cocoro. Just what was this phenomenon? What did it all mean? Oh boy, how are the two of us become involved in it? Is it a prank fate decided to play on us, or maybe God's practical joke? Without one clue about my current situation, I had unintentionally begun to cling to those illogical, mystical thoughts. Doing that was kind of like taking the easy way out, but I felt like if I did it, my brain cells would explode and gush out through my pores. Right now, my head was burning up from all the confusion. In an attempt to cool it down somehow, I was currently... Soka matter. Outside on the terrace, exposed my body to the numbing chill on the midwinter wind. The moon was floating high in the eastern sky. It was a waning gibbous moon. Does that make today the 19th? Over half its visible surface was illuminated. The moon had only just risen. Somehow felt very relaxed bathing in the pale moonlight. All my worldly thoughts were cleared away and the inside of my head became perfectly clear. I felt like all my troubles were being sucked away. Standing on the terrace, I continued to absentmindedly gaze up at the moon. The waning moon shone down its divine radiance, drifting in its infinite world. It looked like an orb being born across the sky on the waves. And just as I'd thought, "What are you up to?" A voice came up from behind me. Turning around, I saw... "Sumi-san, you'll catch a cold if you stay outside for too long, you know." "What's wrong? Is something bothering you?" "No, I'm fine." Trying to distract her, I favored her with a light smile. "More importantly, Sumi-san, why are you here?" You see, I've identified the composition of that liquid." "Liquid? You mean the stuff that was on the cheese?" "That's right. So I thought I'd come tell you." Sumi rested her back against the railing of the terrace and crossed her arms over her chest. She combed her fingers through at the silvery hair. Shining in the moonlight, but her hair held a dreamlike radiance. "I'll start with the results, but it wasn't poison." She said, staring at me firmly. "What? That can't be. And why did the rat..." "Wait, let me explain, okay? What I meant was it isn't harmful if taken as recommended. However, you defy those rules, it becomes a deadly poison. It's that kind of chemical." "So more specifically, what kind of medicine?" "An MAO inhibitor. That's what it's called." "MAO inhibitor?" "Yeah, that's right. It might get a little complicated for me right now, so I'll get an order. First is the priorities. It's short for monoamine oxidase." "Okay." "Enzyme. As the name suggests, the MAO inhibitor literally works to inhibit the oxidation of monoamines inside the body. And the... I hate this name. MAO itself serves the function of swiftly metabolizing the harmful substance accumulating in the body. For example, something like this substance, tyramine. The monoamine oxidation enzyme is responsible for the breakdown of the tyramine content found in food as well. By the way, the tyramine substance is known to cause stimulation of the sympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic nervous system is one of the components of the autonomic nervous system, the regulation of blood pressure and blood sugar levels. Blood vessel constriction throughout the body and the accumulation of blood in the brain and muscles are all controlled by the sympathetic nervous system. Did you get all that? Because here comes the important part. The MAO inhibitor works to suppress the monoamine oxidation enzyme. The monoamine oxidation enzyme is responsible for breaking down tyramine. Tyramine causes stimulation to the sympathetic nerves. And sympathetic nerves control blood pressure. So if the MAO inhibitor is taken... I understand, that's enough explaining. So in short, it's like this. If the enzyme is prevented from breaking down tyramine, sympathetic nervous systems get overstimulated and blood pressure rises. Just expected, Yukidoh. You're a fast learner. Then do you know the symptoms that accompany an extreme elevation of blood pressure? Let's see. Most likely the blood vessels in the brain will rupture. And in the worst case scenario, death, I think. Sumi nodded deeply before continuing. Other symptoms include pulmonary edema, circulatory collapse, heart attacks, many other complications stemming from hypertension. But please hold on a minute, Sumi-san. The monoamine enzyme is naturally present in the body, isn't it? What about tyramine? Good job of noticing. I said so from the beginning, didn't I? That the inhibitor isn't harmful if taken as recommended. One of those recommendations is, do not take with any food containing tyramine, right? Yes. That's why, conversely, if you're in a situation when there is no Tyramine present in your body, no matter how much of the inhibitor you drink, it would be completely harmless. Tyramine would completely disappear from the body after 48 hours at least, because of the mannaramine oxidation enzyme. In other words, if you don't eat any food that contains Tyramine for 48 hours, the inhibitor won't have any negative effects. I see. Then what kinds of food contains Tyramine? Too many to count, really. Chocolate, banana, figs, raisins, liver, herring, pollack, roe, salmon roe, wine, beer, coffee. And then there are dairy products such as yogurt, butter, and cheese as well. Cheese? Yes, cheese. I see, so that's why the rat was suffering like that. The person who added it most likely knew what would happen. If not, there's no way you'd ever combine the MAO inhibitor and cheese. Which means that their goal from the start was to kill the rat. Most likely. I began to ponder, tapping a finger against my temple. Was Satoru the one who spread the MAO inhibitor? Simply relieved from its pain. I was in agony on the kitchen floor. Isn't taking away pain and suffering like that the same thing all doctors do? Thinking about Tori only made me feel depressed. Pregnant girl. Even though it had been sunny today, my body was frozen to the core from staying outside so long. Shivering, I entered the living area. The interior was enveloped in darkness. Assuming he'd already left, and I too was heading to my room. The only one remaining was Tori. Kagome. Crane and the turtle, who's that behind you? She was all by herself having that song, sitting right against the window basking in the moonlight. How long was she sitting there? Did she hear the conversation between me and Itsumi? I approached Tori, and steadily she, as though lured out towards her. But what should I talk to her about? I couldn't just ask her about the inhibitor straight out. When I pressed her about it this afternoon, Tori became extremely agitated. She was mentally ill. I thought it'd be dangerous to excessively stimulate her for no good reason, and besides, what good would come of asking her about the inhibitor? It wouldn't help anything, even if I did confirm that Tori's the one who did it. She'd beaten the rat to death. What's more, she'd already admitted to it of her own free will. Wasn't that more than enough? I stood beside Tori thinking that, and then... Hey, Satoru. Before I could open my mouth, Tori began to talk instead. However, her eyes didn't turn to face me. She was absent-mindedly gazing into the darkness outside. Her body had the appearance of a ghost. Do you know the hidden meaning behind the Kagomona song? Why you ask all of a sudden? No reason. I was just wondering if you knew. I don't know it. The meaning of the Kagomona song, huh? Fortunately, I don't. I thought you were pretty scholarly, Satoru, but you don't even know what something like that. Hey, it's because of something like this that I don't know. The meaning of the Kagomona in the Kagomona song, it's talking about a girl with a giant big belly. A woman who uses her body as a cage, cargo, written as cage woman. In other words, a pregnant woman. The next verse, the bird within the cage. When will you come out? Here they're asking when the baby will be born. And then there's the evening lit by dawn. Barn doesn't refer to the evening after day, but the barn you write child together with the character for woman to bear a child. It's referring the character in childbirth. Then what about the next verse? The crane and the turtle slipped and fell. What does that mean? Crane and the turtle are symbols of celebration, right? From them to slip, that would mean... You understand the rest even without me saying, don't you? I began to think. Kagomone referred to a woman who was using her body as a cage. When the baby will be born, birth will happen near dawn. It slipped and floated away. Looks like you figured it out, huh? Tori's eyes never strayed from the window. What was she so sleepily looking at? As time passed, the darkness outside deepened even further. But wait a second, Tori. Even though I figured it out, it still doesn't mean that I understand everything. The meaning of the last verse, what does "who's that behind you" mean? Who knows? I don't know either. I wonder who it could be. The one who's there behind you, I mean. Not saying anything more than that, Tori returned to her room. But even so, why did Hattori suddenly begin talking about the Kagomona song? Judging from her tone, it didn't feel like it was just idle chit-chat. The Kagomona song, huh? Somehow I felt like the truth about her... goddammit. The truth about her hidden within that song. The living area had become devoid of light. I'd gone completely wrapped up in my thoughts there in darkness. It didn't seem a very productive way to pass time. If I had the time to do stuff like this, I should get moving instead. Thinking that, I began to wonder where to go. Since the sun had set, I talked to both Tsumi and Tori, which left uni. My feet automatically began to take me there. Stars Prince. I am gonna go back and make those choices. Didn't approach. I didn't approach her. I didn't know what I'd talk to her about if I did. Couldn't just ask her about the inhibitor straight out. When I asked about her this afternoon, her throat became extremely agitated. She was mentally ill. I thought it'd be dangerous to excessively stimulate her for no good reason. And besides, what good would come of asking her about the MAO inhibitor? It wouldn't help anything even if I did confirm that Hattori's the one who did it. Beating the rat to death was not more than enough. That's why I decided to avoid Hattori. Even with that said, it's not like I decided where to go next. It wasn't really in the mood to just return to my room either. Where should I go? I talked to Itsumi just a moment ago, which left uni. Feet automatically began to take me there. Alright, so that goes to Uni's. So now, let's go here. Approach to Uni, Amatori. I know it. Meaning of the Kagurame song. Well, I know a little bit about it, but what does it mean? First, Kagurame. Oh, it means, I can do multiple here. Basket pattern! It's about the woven pattern that's used in baskets. No, man. That's the pattern that they called Kagurame Mayu, or basket weave. It's talking about the pattern. 6-pointed star, hexagram, the Star of David. There are many different names for it, but in short, Star of David. At the start of the game, when you play as Satoru climbing up the clock tower, he mentions something about David. There are many different names for it, but in short, the term Kagurame refers to the symmetrical shape of two equilateral triangles overlapping. That's why the Kagurame song refers to the 6-pointed star symbol, and was handed down in the sense of a center type. That's completely wrong. What? I said that you're completely wrong. Kagurame in the Kagurame song is a woman with a great big belly. A woman who uses her body as a cage. In other words, a pregnant woman. Okay. I know that. I just need to be able to do every single choice. Alright. It's obviously caged woman, but I'm going to do surrounded. It's about being surrounded. Kagurame. My guess is that when the song was first created, the original words were Kagurame. Pronunciations got muddled over time, and now the song's become Kagurame. That's completely wrong. What? It's completely wrong. Yep. Actually, is there anything after this because I said that? Nope. Cage woman. It's about a woman trapped in a cage. Cargo. It's most likely referring to a prostitute. So the Kagurame song is actually the sad story of a prostitute just being held captive and turned to a commodity. It's completely wrong. It's about the reading, right? But the meaning is totally off. Okay. But what about the rest? That makes no sense. That really doesn't make any sense at all. Really? But I'm missing some, aren't I? Yeah, I'm missing like 11%. Maybe that's because I didn't do something in an earlier sim. Who knows? Here I am. Stars Prince. Upon opening the door, I saw Uni standing in front of the fridge with the glass cup tilted towards his mouth. There was mineral water in it. It looked like he'd just taken a drink. What is it, Satoru? Uni asked, placing his empty glass on the desk. Even though he'd asked, what is it, I didn't have a reply ready. There wasn't anything particular I wanted to ask him. After all, the consciousness of the Uni right here now belonged to the Uni of 2011. Of course, it'd be a different story if it was the Uni of the shelter cabin. I had a mountain of questions for him. However, no matter what I asked this Uni of the past, I didn't think his answers would have much significance. No, but it's not like I can say that for sure, is it? It wasn't like I'd found any concrete evidence that the Uni at Sphere was really the Uni of 2011. Hey, Uni. This is kind of abrupt, but I tried throwing out a question like this in order to confirm it. What year is it again? Oh, what are you saying, Satoru? Did you forget too? Oh, well, I don't mind if you think like that. So what year is it? What year do you think it is? Jeez, you're hopeless. I'll tell you so, make sure you write it down somewhere. It's currently the year 2011. I see, that's right. Thanks. Saying that, I left Uni's room. Guess right after all, it's the year 2012 here at Sphere, but in spite of that, Uni just told me it's the year 2011. Could there be any better evidence of this? Uni transferred just once, jumping through time, but his testimony alone wasn't enough. Just to be sure, I felt it necessary to get the testimony of a third party as well. If he asked what kind of testimony he was after. Hey, Tsumi-san? What's wrong, Yukidoh-san? Well, the truth is, there's something I wanted to ask you. What is it? What year is it now? Oh, this is what they meant by why are you asking again? Because Cocoro asks them right after this. I remember that. 2012. Tsumi answered without the slightest hesitation. Conviction had become even firmer. If my memory matched with the third party's testimony, it was good enough to support my thinking in regard to it being the year 2012. However, I'm convinced that the uni here right now is from the 1 year in the past. It's a definite possibility. On January 11th, 2011, Uni was a passenger on Flight HAL 18, had fallen onto Mount Cocoro and by some twist of fate ended up in this facility. That said, he hadn't transferred over and over again like Cocoro and I. He'd only changed places once. No, I don't think that's true. Because he doesn't know about Cocoro asking about the pineapple and stuff like that. The past Uni's consciousness had gotten stuck in the future Uni's body, and vice versa. Well, I mean, then again, that could be explained by Uni going back at the end of these events to try to save Cocoro. Thus, what the other life is. As I said earlier. Why did the transfer only happen once to Uni? Groped only along the wall until I found the light switch and flipped it on. The living area was empty. My body sank deeper into the sofa as I kicked my feet up onto the table. No matter how much I thought about Uni, there'd be no end to it. No matter how... Now I had even more things to ask him the next time I was in the shelter cabin. He said he had the power of precognition, but that had to be a lie. Darn it, that darn Uni. I don't know whether he'd heard my muttering or not, but... The door to his room opened and Uni suddenly popped out from behind it. Satoru, Satoru! He rushed over to me, calling in a cheerful voice. He hopped into the sofa, and on that instant, my consciousness was suddenly yanked away. Interesting. I don't actually remember what happens next time. I think... Oh, actually, no, I think I do. I think what happens next time is... What do you call it? Cocoro goes looking for Isami, and that's when she finds out about the kid and everything. I think. I was on a bed in the shelter cabin, with my body lying down on some blankets. Now, rather than my body, I guess I ought to say Kokoro's body. I immediately checked the time. The wristwatch in my hand indicated 10:15 p.m. Yeah. I got up and walked to the center of the cabin. I looked all around it, turning in a circle. Yomogi was squatting in front of the stove, throwing wood into the fire. Up on the top bunk, Lynn was asleep with her back to us. The most vital survivor, Uni, was nowhere to be seen. Yes, he's the most vital. This time, I'll get the truth out of him no matter what. Could he be down in the storeroom? I tried asking Yomogi. Hey, old man. I called out to him. Yomogi rebuked me as he turned around. I'm sure we should stop calling me old man all the time, Yukidoh-kun. Eh? You're Yukidoh-kun, aren't you? It's easy to tell the two of you apart from where you speak. This certainly is a welcome development. I can finally skip the explanation every time. Which reminds me, it looks like Fuyukawa-san recorded something on the voice recorder. Cocoro did? Yeah. But since she was down in the storeroom, I don't know what it's about. She was whispering something, so I figured. I see, thanks a lot. I decided to immediately go listen to the voice recorder. Standing in a corner of the room, I pressed the playback button. I waited for Kokoro's voice to flow from the device and into my ears. This is Cocoro. I listened to your message. Why did you say this year was the 2012? It's the year 2011. It's not like you'd be mistaken. Maybe you should rest a bit. I asked everyone, and they all said it's the year 2011. Yada yada yada. P.S. Quit taking off my wristwatch. Your wristwatch is called a wristwatch because you wear it on your wrist. Yeah, I remember that. The content itself didn't come as much as a surprise. The fact that Cocoro is convinced that it's the year 2011 is understandable. But it was in the shelter cabin, saying it's the year 2011 is correct no matter how you look at it. She said I asked everyone, but that everyone was probably just around the refugees in the shelter cabin. They said it was the year 2011 again, a reasonable statement. Seems like what I tried to say didn't come across very well. My last message had been cut short due to Uni's unexpected intrusion. I ended up not being able to tell her everything. The world you're in right now is 1 year later, the year 2012. That's pretty much what I'd said. It's only natural for her to misunderstand. I decided to reply to her at once. I pushed the record button and raised the mic to my speaking. This is Satoru. First, the least important point. I intend to listen to your request as much as possible. Since we're partners, I think mutual trust is important. However, you demand that I keep the wristwatch on, I just can't accept it. Having something on my arm just irritates me for some reason. By the way, it's the same with bracelets and the like. First place I have a problem, the custom of wearing wristwatches itself. Shouldn't a gentleman carry a pocket watch? Well, I don't like the design, and they don't keep time that well, so I reluctantly carry around a wristwatch, but don't you think the spirit of gentleman is something to be cherished? Even if I were to be sued by the Wristwatch Society, those feelings will never change. In conclusion, request to keep the wristwatch on denied. After recording that, I made a point to defiantly take the wristwatch off. This is war, this time I'm going to hide it where you'll never be able to find it. I approached Yumogi. Would you hold on to this for a while, old man? Without waiting for an answer, I shoved the wristwatch into the pocket. Hold on to it. Here, I'm trusting this to you, so don't ask any questions. It's an important wristwatch. Make sure you don't lose it, old man. Yumogi tilted his head to the side. I flashed him a thumbs up. He left the cabin, and left the cabin. I left so that, for now, Yumogi wouldn't ask any questions. Not that it really mattered, if he did, but having to explain everything would be a pain. I sat down just outside the cabin door and resumed the recording. Let's get to the main point, continuing from last time, about the question what year it is. You remember what I said in the previous message, right? The world you're in right now is 1 year later. However, there's also a most accurate way to put it. The time I'd lost my head, I forgot. The place where Cocoro can listen to the voice is restricted to just this shelter cabin. I didn't realize that simple truth. The time by the world where Cocoro is. I didn't mean the shelter cabin. It is the world where Cocoro is from the viewpoint of me, who is here now. Meaning in short, sphere. Do you get it? Without beating around the bush, it's like this. In the world of sphere, it's 2012. In the world of the shelter cabin, it's 2011. Our consciousness are jumping not only through space, but also through time. What we're trapped in isn't a mere personality exchange phenomenon. Along with the personality exchange, there's also a time jump, an extremely unique transfer phenomenon. I say this, but I guess you probably won't believe me. How should I explain it? At any rate, this is the truth. It's 2012 in sphere and 2011 in shelter cabin. Cocoro and I keep shifting back and forth between two different bodies, places, and times. Just now you must be thinking, how can you say this without such certainty? Answer is simple, because I live in the year 2012. That is to say, to you, I'm a person from the future. That's why I even know about the shelter cabin being in 2011. The crash of Flight 18 for me happened last year. Still can't believe it? Can't be helped. Well then I'll tell you about Uni. In the message at Sphere yesterday you wrote this, right? Because if that isn't so, I can't explain how Uni could exist two people at the same time. At the same time, that's what you wrote. But you know what? They really aren't the same. One Uni is the Uni from 2011, and the other is Uni from 2012. Even at this very same moment, a person exists at different points in the time axis. It's not particularly mysterious, don't you think? Or rather, isn't it natural? Both in the future and the past, Uni being there is normal. But you know, from now on it won't be so straightforward. And just when I was about to go on, the moon floating in the eastern sky above, its shape caught my eye. Sorry, Cocoro. How should I put it? No, I'll tell you later. From now on, that's it. Wait. I forgot to say something important, okay, Cocoro? Sphere, from now on, don't eat any of the food. This is not a request. This isn't the best way to say it, but it's an order. I'll explain the details next time. Anyhow, if you take a single bite of anything, then consider your life over. I'm counting on you. Stop recording. The last edition was, of course, because I was concerned about the AMAO inhibitor. Maybe the culprit is planning on getting me to ingest it, using some kind of underhand method. Whoops. Can't say for sure that it's not a possibility. Well, yeah. Whoops. What the hell? Can't say for sure it's not a possibility. Then again, I didn't have time to explain to Cocoro about the AMAO inhibitor, the Manoramine, Exodus, and the Teramine. I can't list all the foods that you can't eat either. To begin with, it's not like I know whether any given food contains Teramine or not. That's why I said don't eat anything. As long as my body didn't eat anything in the next 48 hours, the inhibitor could do no harm. I hope that Tsumi wasn't mistaken. I had etched her every word deep into my mind. Now then, that aside. Before anything else, the moon. The shape of the moon. So what the hell does this mean? That's the same waning gibbous moon I saw before, isn't it? It went without saying that I'd seen it at Sphere. But this was the shelter cabin. How can it be exactly the same? According to the lunar cycle, there was no way the moon could be the same phase this year as it was this time last year. Moreover, even its position in the sky was more or less the same. The eastern sky. It was risen somewhat higher than before, and was moving along a southward orbit, but it was still pretty much exactly the same place. Impossible. How could this be? I began to walk as though guided by moonlight. The light hit the white field of snow, creating a dreamlike veil of mist across it. The distant horizon was azure, like a congregation of free floating souls. The mysterious quality of the scene before me almost had me convinced that I had stepped into a dream world. I continued my staggering progress forward. Entranced, my mind was a blank. But through my mental consciousness, I held fast to that single thought as I pushed forward. The phases of the moon at Mount Kokoro at Aosagi Island were the same. If that were true, then it couldn't be the 2011 at Mount Kokoro, but the year 2012, just like at Aosagi Island. It's impossible. Then how do you explain Yomogi and the rest? They should have died a year ago. How could dead people be alive in the year 2012? Without my dim consciousness, was that a thought alone? In front of me shone a blue-white orb, but how far I'd run, I'd never be able to catch up to it, though it remained stubbornly reticent. That light kindly illuminated a path for me, inviting me, summoning me. Holding fast to that feeling, I continued chasing after the shadow of the moon. Turning around, I saw how the shelter cabin had grown small in the distance. It had been built in the middle of a deep hollow, like an earthen bowl. I turned back and continued my slow ascent to the slope, climbing. Before long, I'd reached the top. What I saw there was a vast ocean, its depths the glossy sheen of dark velvet. No way. How can there be an ocean here? Waves gently rolled across the ocean's surface to quietly break on the shore. The jet-black depths of that ocean spread out in all directions with no apparent end. The soft moonlight kissed the waves with a glossy brilliance. Looking upward, the starry sky felt as though it would fall at any moment. Far off in the distance, I could see the point where the horizon divided the sea and sky. Looking to either side, I could see the bow of the coastline stretching far away in either direction. White caps broke across the shore. Even from here, the faint ripple of the waves reached my ears. A sweet melody like a lullaby. This was Mount Kokoro, 1,200 meters above sea level. So why? Why was there a shore here? As though something had snapped inside me, I began to run. I had to tell the others about this. Was this someone's sick idea of a joke? For there to be an ocean so close, and yet in spite of that, they were shutting themselves in the shelter cabin for the rescue team to arrive. It was ridiculous. Why had they never noticed it before? Pushing through the fallen snow, I all but tumbled down the hill, with the shelter cabin as my goal, but the goal returned to the sides. I finally reached the cabin, almost crawling, and just as I reached out my hand to throw it open, and boom.